Well, welcome to this meeting of our solutions group on savings. Recent polling suggests that Americans' concerns about their savings even trumps their concerns about whether they'll keep their job. And unfortunately, Democrats here in Washington have done nothing to ease this crisis. In fact, Washington is pursuing policies that are causing American savings to evaporate even more quickly. Some want to wipe out 401ks entirely and replace them with government-run savings accounts. Frankly, I think that's unacceptable. Republicans are committed to being the party of better solutions. Several weeks ago, I asked 12 of my colleagues to join me in a solutions group dedicated to rebuilding Americans' savings. Our plan will help rebuild their retirement and college savings accounts. I want to thank my colleagues that are here for all of their hard work on this better solution. And several members are here to help discuss this today. Let me turn it over to Buck McKeon, our ranking member on the Education and Labor Committee.
Thank you, Leader. I'm Buck McKeon from California, Senior Republican on the House Education and Labor Committee. I want to thank the Leader for putting together this group because it's a very important issue that's affecting Americans all across the country. You know, our committee oversees issues from, we say, cradle to grave, early education, post-secondary education, lifelong learning, and retirement, and the Older Americans Act. So it's a broad committee. That's why, and we address these issues, why I'm pleased to be a part of this group. I know that American families work hard to prepare for save for the milestones in their life, their education, their health care needs, their retirement. I've spent a lot of time in my district lately talking to parents, small business owners, retirees, soon-to-be retirees. These people might not seem to have a lot in common, but we found the one thing that they do have in common at first glance is they all share the same fears about their savings. They've lost wealth, not just the wealth that exists on paper on Wall Street, but real assets. I was talking to a couple of guys that said, you know, I started when my child was born. I wanted to save for his education. I had money set aside for 4 years of education in the last year. That's dropped to 2 years of education. So I have to put off my retirement. I've heard that story countless times. Americans are resilient. They know that we and they will recover. What they need are the tools to help them get there. And I think that what we're going to come up with from this group will be the tools that will help these people.
Michele.
I want to applaud Leader Boehner for bringing this group together. The Savings Recovery Act is an important tool to have in America's toolkit to be able to address the situation that families are burdened with, the burden on their own personal savings and on their own personal life. Today we know that Americans per capita have a burden, a debt burden of over $35,000 per person. In the next 8 years under President Obama, that burden will double, and the American people are starting to feel the effects of that burden. They know with all of this wild spending, they will have to pay for it and their children. And Leader Boehner has brought this group together because we believe that the American people want to save, they need to save, and America will be more productive if people will continue to save, as Buck said, for their children's education, for their small business. Small businesses are the key and the backbone to American recovery, and the Savings Recovery Act will help not only America's families, but also America's small businesses. I salute the Leader.
John Kline.
Thank you, Leader. It has been a lot of fun working with this group, but we're working on a very, very tough problem. Not only are Americans worried about their savings, a big part of this that we've been talking about, but they're very worried about their retirement. For many people, savings and retirement equate, but as we know, there's more to it than that. And we've seen that the laws in place, the rules in place, are just not responsive to the economic situation that we're in now. For example, we've already looked at changing the mandatory withdrawal age for retirements from 70 and a half. We've waived that for 2009, but that's not enough. We're going to propose in our proposal that we waive that until 2012. It's just not fair to make people go into their retirement savings and withdraw that money at a time when the market is way down. Similarly, we want to offer people an opportunity to catch up, to contribute more to their account so they can get more money into their retirement savings. We've seen proposals of that already. We've already made a small adjustment. We want to make sure that that goes forward. And then finally, there are millions of Americans who depend upon their defined benefit contributions. And employers now are being impacted like Americans across the board. They're having a hard time keeping those pension plans solvent. So we have proposals in our plans that will make it easier for employers to make sure that those pension plans continue. We're going to give them a couple of extra years, for example, going to 9 years instead of 7 years for them to catch up. So I think as we look at the anxiety that Leader Boehner talked about, Americans are worried about what their savings and retirement are. I think that this working group has really come together to address it across the board.
Pat Tiberi.
Thank you, Leader. As the first in my family to graduate from college, I know firsthand the importance of getting a college education. And a component of all this, and a component of what has happened in the stock market is Mr. McKeon mentioned, is the losses that have occurred in 529 plans from families all over the country. And so as the father of 4 young kids who's trying to plan for their college education, I've seen how much has been lost in my oldest daughter's 529 plan. And to try to address that, we have 2 components to this larger puzzle that I am proud to be part of. And number 1, for low and moderate income families, is a $1,000 savers credit to encourage low and moderate income families to begin investing in a 529 plan if they haven't. We see this for retirement purposes, a different array of retirement plans, and we should do more to, on the federal level, my state in Ohio, Leader and I, we have a $2,000 credit for a family opening up a 529 plan. This is a $1,000 savers credit at the federal level. In addition to that, we should give families who participate in a 529 plan more flexibility. And our proposal would allow families to have flexibility in changing their investment options twice a year for their account, for their child's account. So both of those are part of this larger proposal that the Leader has put together.